Emergency Services Committee for February 20th. Is there any declarations of conflict of interest?
Seeing none.
Seeing none today, I need someone to move our agenda.
I'll move it.
Moved, seconded. Approval of our previous draft minutes from the 21st of January.
Move it.
Moved, seconded. Any business arising out of those minutes?
Seeing none.
That's perfect. We're gonna move right into reports. The first one will be the operational report with Deputy Fire Chief Kent Mitchell.
Okay, everybody has in the package. I won't go through the numbers this month in I know we want to get into the operational budget, so just to hit the highlights, the department would like to congratulate firefighter Connor Rooney on his recent graduation from Ottawa Police Academy's professional firefighter program and on starting his new role as a lead firefighter in the last few weeks. And also 2 firefighter career competitions were completed recently with Aidan Tilley and Adam Burke being successful, and they started recently in the last couple of weeks, and congratulations to Aidan and Adam. And again, firefighter awards banquet will be this Saturday night at the PEI Brewing Company, February 22nd. So that's our condensed version this month.
Is there any questions?
Just a clarification if you don't mind. And I should know the answer. Like you put a relief firefighter. Is that,
Yeah, so
that's not full-time?
they backfill.
Oh, yeah. As I said, I should have known the answer. It just went out of my head.
We actually, with this current collective agreement, which is the first between the CPFFA and the city, we changed the term of ELS
Okay.
and seasonal to relief firefighter 1 and relief firefighter 2, just to clear it up for
Yeah.
us, because ELS made no sense as a firefighter.
Okay, thank you for that.
Great. Good. Councillor John, you're good with that? Thank you, Kent, appreciate that. So today we are moving right into the operational budget discussion, and I think fire is first.
Certainly, Chair. Thank you very much. As the budget report states, this is the operational budgetary requirements of Fire Department and Emergency Measures Organization for 25-26. Our recommendation is that obviously this committee supports these budget proposals. I know it's hard times, but we'll roll through everything and spell it all out. Both the draft operational budget summary and the new initiative forms, and there's 2 of those, are included in the package for review. And both fire and EMO operational budgets began as status quo. That was the attempt made. Only they have increased in certain areas, and I can highlight those. Only show slight increases due to the increasing difficulties associated with the rising costs and delivery issues and staffing imbalances associated with the provision of safe, reliable, and effective fire and emergency services. The 2 new initiatives are deemed essential to safely providing the level of fire and life safety services the department is responsible for the citizens and visitors now and into the future. So with that preamble, I don't know if, if we get it up on the screen, and can we make that any larger on you?
No,
Yeah, we're at the age.
Or does everybody have it on their own tablet there?
It's good to kind of follow somewhere.
So we can identify a few of the increases, and I'll explain why as we roll down from the top here. Okay, yeah, we're getting bigger.
Is that good?
Yeah, I think that should be good, unless.
No, I'm good, I can follow here.
Okay, starting at the top, the first increase that we see, and that's a significant increase of 51,000, sorry, my apologies. I should be following that one as well. $150. That's an increase in the permanent union wages due to the increase in staffing, as we hired 2 new firefighters and we have new relief firefighters. An increase in permanent union overtime of 13,379. An increase in seasonal wages of 200,000, and that's in regard to hiring more relief firefighters to reduce the overtime costs, which is going to balance that out rather well. Seasonal union activity, and once again, those are relief firefighters. You see the increase there. I apologize. Can't even read my name. Yes, an increase of 27,000 in the casual non-union, and that is basically the volunteer firefighters honorariums. That's what that amounts to. Casual non-union, as I mentioned, yes. Wages non-union, an increase in that slightly to 27,763. Savings in statutory health benefit, health benefits and health related costs, a reduction of 45,823 for the budget year. Small increase in fire benefits statutory wise, pension 29,483, and WCB an increase of 2,457. As we go further down, the next two blocks are in regards to office supplies, an increase of 5,000. We only had a budget of 1,800, I think it was. And special projects increase or an implementation of 2,500, which we've had in budgets past, but we dropped this last budget. But we're running into some difficulty there with some available funds at the end of it. This is where some significant increases are as well. Training materials and registration, an increase of 40,000. Training volunteers, an increase of 50,000. And training materials and registration of 5,000. And that's to account for the training of the new members to enter the fire department, the consistent job performance review training that all the firefighters undertake, and the increased costs of getting our firefighters and our platoon chiefs qualified. Our blue card program itself is several $1,000s each, and that's on a renewable subscription. So we really have to increase the budget there to maintain our safety in regards to firefighter training and abilities. The next two increases under travel and transportation, 5,000 increase from the 500 we had there for staff, and an increase initially of 7,000 for the elected officials' travel, but that was we've decided to reduce that by the entire amount as we haven't used that in my time here. So we'll get rid of that.
Leaving to go.
Meeting expenses and fire meals, an increase there of 7,500 over from our original 5,150 budget. As we turn the page, clothing, uniforms and protective clothing, an increase there of 45,000 for uniforms and 25,000 for the fire clothing protective, and that's for the new members, bunker gear, uniforms, ensembles, and the rest. Advertising and communications, an increase of 12,500 there, bringing it up to 23,000. What we've experienced with this is we constantly end up looking at other budget lines to try to complete some of the things that we've always done. Our Christmas greetings, our muscular dystrophy boot drives, all of the adverts that we put on the radio to get around, and in the Guardian for our recruitment campaign and everything. All those costs have gone up, so we're looking to address that. An increase of $30,260 in new equipment under small equipment for fire, and those are the day-to-days that come about, and the costs for those are rising each day. An increase in 15,000 for our radios. We've got more radios in the inventory now, so there's more servicing and maintenance of them, and the more radios we have, the safer it is on the fire ground. As we're trying to get to that each firefighter with a radio status. So we're going to be increasing our numbers as we have in the past, and servicing, maintaining those costs. An increase of 35,000 in the fire gas and oil for our vehicles, as we're struggling to stay par with that. Fire equipment maintenance and supplies, an increase of 50,000 to 114. That once again is in relation to the rising costs for getting some maintenance done on our equipment. Basically nothing that we own gets serviced on the island. We have to send most of it away, which is the additional cost, and then the increase in the product itself. Vehicle maintenance and repairs, this echoing the last comments. The cost of repairs on our trucks have been rising annually, and then the service required on them due to the extended travel, due to the amount of times on the road, the amount of trucks on the road, and the road conditions. All that stuff adds to it, as well as the age of the vehicles, which we are looking to replace in the capital budget. Next one is a increase in the volunteer programs or fire grants. This used to be quite a larger budget, but it was reduced in years past, and we're just looking to increase that again for the grants requests that come in. An increase in the Fire Prevention Bureau of 25,000 to bring it to 41,000. That is for fire prevention activities and projects, and we have increased our fire inspector staff by one, so we now have 3 fire inspectors and a fire prevention officer over there, so there's 4 members, and the budget just wasn't supporting that. We originally had one.
I'm just wondering, when you talk about the volunteer fire grants, can you just, can you tell me what that is?
The first part of that is the firefighter annual banquet,
Oh, okay,
that fall in there,
okay, okay.
and the increases in that you'll see this year.
Yeah, no, I just didn't understand what
Yeah.
it was.
That's where that was. Air supply and service, an increase once again, 6,700 to bring it to 21,000, just increasing costs with servicing. Emergency planning and emergency operations, you see an increase in both budgets down there. That's for more equipment and more training to be conducted throughout the year. We're gonna schedule regular semi-annual training for both staff and the elected officials to keep everybody abreast, so we're gonna be spending some more in the training and supporting of all the members that we expect to staff the emergency measures. All of that increase amounts to an increase of $936,904 on the original budget of $5,628,348, which brings it to $6,565,252. And I'm willing to answer any questions on the budget that is the
Your
run
new
through.
initiatives are in that 6 million,
No, if you look
Okay.
on the column,
Next
it
one.
says new initiative, there's only two of them there, 300,000 and 500,000. And I'll explain what those are. Those are simply wages and salaries and the uniforms, protective equipment ensembles and training. So for the first new initiative, which is 2 permanent platoon chief positions, we hired 2 this current fiscal year. We need to get to 4. These 2 non-management or management non-union positions are required to complete the establishment of a platoon chief for each of our 4 24-hour, 7-day-a-week platoons that we currently established. These positions will ensure all department members' operations and activities are professionally managed, coordinated, and conducted safely. So what we intend there is obviously a platoon chief with each platoon around the clock. So that total there, the 300,000 is for the 2 members. $124,047.33 is the actual salary and benefits, or salary portion of it. Salary and benefits portion of it, I apologize. And the 101,000 is the salary. And any questions with that one? Straightforward.
So you're basically looking at a $2 million increase in your budget. With your first section, you said 960,
First section there, and the
And then
new
this one's
initiative is
close.
800,000.
is 800,005 and 3. Like, yeah,
With the second new initiative, which is 4 permanent firefighter 2 positions, the addition of the 4 members will help towards establishing a staffed response for all calls in our area jurisdiction. The staffing growth will allow for the improvement of response times and operational procedures throughout the city. Safety, response times, and a staffed response.
and I know through other years, when we're over budgeting, because everyone puts in their wish list. And a lot of, all of the departments are told to cut back 2% or 3% or something like that. Are we doing that this year, or maybe that was a question for finance?
Yeah, and when we
You know,
look
just to
at it.
balance up everything.
Exactly. We've discussed this through many meetings we've had with finance and pointed out the fact with our emergency services, both our departments. Brad, I think, is even in a worse situation than me in regards to what's available to make some changes with. I'm about 15% of the budget is salary and benefits
Right.
driven and what's required for the personnel. So to make cuts from that other 15, as I've done in a couple of places, but we needed the addition in a few other. But we can probably discuss further if needed.
do you have any questions, Councillor Ron? So I'm just asking myself, so if you get your 2 permanent platoon chief positions, that's gonna full complement that,
Yes.
that part. And with the 4 asks, if everything goes and you get 4 new firefighters, does that put you where we're supposed to be as far as?
That starts this process of ensuring we have enough staff personnel on to improve and complete the objectives of the city, which have driven what our response and operational requirements are. So that's what the focus is on that. It doesn't stop at 4 there.
Because we've moved to those 12-hour shifts too, or is it
24
24
hour
hours?
shifts,
Okay.
So it's a full different shift configuration, and we need, additionally, these aren't the last four we'll need.
Okay. There'll be lots of questions that you'll be ready to answer when we
Certainly,
get to the
yes,
next step.
I'll sharpen things up a little bit there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ken.
So I guess we're moving now to the next, second part, Brad with his chief of police, with his draft operational budget. Coming 25, 26.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I wonder if we could start off with the budget snapshot on the screen, just before we get into more of the detailed breakdown. I just want to highlight, some things. You can see by the graph there that 90% of our budget is salaries and benefits within the CPS. And of that remaining 10%, it's further broken down. I look at Humane Society, $132,000. Commissionaires, $282,000 in that remaining 10%. So when you get down to the actual policing operations, it's about $512,000 when you take out the gas and oil and the uniforms and gear and hardware, and vehicle maintenance. So there's there's not a lot when it comes to finding savings within our budget. It's very difficult given that we're salary and benefits heavy. So I can tell you that as we move into this year, we're projected status quo budget, meaning last year's budget with just cost of living and expected increases in fuel and step increases in salary and things like that is a projected 1.5% increase, which would increase the budget to about 16,104 before any new initiatives. And then we have a couple, 3 new initiatives for consideration, which amount to $997,623, which would be an additional 5.83% increase. So a total increase from last year's budget of 7.4%. So the major expenditure there would be with 5 new constable positions and 4 new civilian staff to continue to keep pace with growth and operational demands. Before I move on to that, is there any questions on that part of it before I get into the?
Brad,
Yeah.
our chief, the Humane Society, what is, I know it's been there forever,
Yeah.
and what is the benefits for us? Like, is that just a
Well-
grant, a donation, or,
No, it's certainly not a donation. We are a full-service community that offer Humane Society as these types of functionalities of service. And the city just simply does not have the capacity to do that, and we have to look at contracting it out. So for a dog that was off leash, if we were to apprehend that dog, where would we keep it? Where would we store it? How would we feed it? How would we do all those things, right? So it doesn't make sense to try to take on that additional responsibility, because we have looked at that in the past. Is this money well spent? And our conclusion has been, yes, it is.
okay,
And commissionaires, 282,000 for the commissionaires. Well, that's the parking commissionaires.
thank you.
As we get down my line items, we certainly, we go through the salary and benefits. We do see an increase in wages in relation to non-union and regular, which is senior police staffing, which would be just try to keep a limit on the wage compression that's happening between the unionized members. Increase in union regular salary in relation to such things as step increases and cost of living. As we get down, and health and benefit and statutory pension and workers' compensation increases have been factored in by human resources. We will see about a 2% increase in the cost of our commissionaires and our contract with Garda World for coin and collection for the meters, for a total of about $5,540. We will also see with the cost of training and another projected 5,000 increase in the training budget. Additional $10,000 for uniforms in relation to the new hires that's underway right now. Additional $20,000 for projected increases in gas and oil. Additional $5,000 increase in vehicle maintenance and repairs. We're getting 8 new vehicles, that even such things as oil, even if they weren't anything mechanically wrong, just due to wear and tear, standard maintenance for oil change, filter, those types of things is expected.
Madam Chair, through you to the chief, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Chief, I don't know if we talked about this before, but I'm just curious to know if there was any examination of potential new revenue. Like you speak to, the fixed costs going up and majority of that not being anything that we really have much flexibility with. And I'm just wondering with respect to parking meters and different revenue streams, if there's an opportunity to find new revenue there.
Yeah, it's, there's a lot to consider there. We are projecting a $40,000 increase in provincial fines due to the new hires and new officers. And we are looking at the fees associated to such things as parking and permits, as such things as residential parking and those types of things. So we are considering those. We're just not at a comfortable stage to project any real meaningful change at this point.
Because my question was, there's been a lot of talk about this parking strategy that they're doing, and to me, I know that it sounded like there might be some promising results as a result of that. So is that something that is projected for this year, that are we looking at moving with that parking strategy, or?
I know that the parking committee is meeting later today as
Okay.
initial steps, so we expect that there will be changes there. What they are is yet to be realized, so that's why we're hesitant to actually forecast
Right.
till we see what that might be.
Oh, yes, for sure, it's just that is still progressing, so that's positive, because I think as these keep going up, we have to find a way to do better for
Yeah,
reducing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And certainly the police service is mindful of that also. The next, we see a $2,000 increase in breathalyzer related supplies. We'd also see a $2,000 increase just due to, which is about a 2% increase in the Humane Society contract. And that is it for increases within the operational budget from status quo from last year. If I could talk about the new initiatives for a minute, I think I've kind of stated my argument many times, and including in last year's budget, the need for additional officers to keep pace. I think when we have the appropriate amount of manpower, we can be very proactive in our policing initiatives, and certainly these additional 5 officers would help to achieve that. Additionally, 4 civilian support staff to help with all the related administrative tasks that come along with increased police demands that we're seeing. Our calls for service are at certainly ever increasing highs, over 20,000 last year compared to where we were probably in, like for sake, like 2012 when we were about 12,000. So we've increased significantly, and all comes with administrative burdens to manage that. Certainly, as we grow, we'll need to build on our support staff also. And I think I'll leave it there, Chair, and answer any questions that you may have.
So are you, sorry, Madam Chair. So you to the chief. So we're looking for another 5 officers, chief, is what you're looking?
That's correct.
And I know as former chair and that, we discussed this time and time again. The way the job market is today, is it getting more and more like sort of difficult? Because there is officers leaving, going to the RCMP because work schedule, I don't know what's going on in there. But there's not as many people going to the police academy, correct? Or is there? Is it back?
The police academy has changed their model in the last couple of years, where you could actually, if you had the money, you could meet the requirements, you could pay to go into and get a seat in the police academy. That has evolved over the last couple of years. Now, seats at the police academy are from a sponsored basis. So basically, a cadet pretty much has to be promised employment and sponsored by an agent before they're taking them. That has actually helped the model and increased efforts from police departments across the region to identify candidates and incentivize them to want to go. Now with the investment of support in offsetting the tuition, they can be pretty much guaranteed a full-time job. So a lot of people, that's resonating with a lot of people, and we will we're looking at that as part of our next stage of recruitment and retention here in Charlottetown. So some of these 5 positions actually may be sponsored positions and not just seeking experienced officers, where we actually identify cadets and sponsor them, like many of our existing staff have. So yeah, it's definitely evolving, but I think it's heading in the right direction.
Thank you.
Okay, go back to see if one question I had too, I just looked, like when you look at vehicle maintenance, 80,000 and 125,000, does it make sense ever for our city to have our own kind of shop for some of that? Would that look at?
We have mechanics, but we only have, I think, 2 or maybe 3 at the
That's
most.
city garage, right?
And they only
I'm
work
just
on
wondering
the
if that
garage
would-
vehicles.
Yeah, to
I'd
me,
love to
would
have-
it not make sense, that's a lot of money for just one, this is one department, I'm thinking we have water and sewer, we have public works, we have all these other areas that have many vehicles, probably more than we have for our little department, like our department. And I know you guys have specialized
Specialized
but
yeah.
someone that would be, to me, I don't understand why we aren't looking at that, but that's maybe a conversation I'll ask tonight when we're in full
Well,
council.
Chair, I would just say that the police services would certainly be open to that. I think there's efficiencies that could be found even in just routine maintenance. And certainly, that's something that we could work with other departments to try to achieve. It just as we kind of forecast into the next year with those services not being available, we wouldn't want to find ourselves short on
There's certainly a lot we can be, hopefully, with that broader band of coming out of those individual departments and looking for the greater good financially, because as we know, everything is going up, so how do we find a way to reduce that? So I was just, Sue has told me as a committee, we kind of have to look at each initiative and decide, are we willing to push those on to council for consideration consideration, up onto finance, I guess.
And a lot of
As a
that,
community.
and I agree, Chair, what you're saying, if we had our own section to look after our own vehicles. But you're paying one or two mechanics, which is probably the lower end of the deal. It's the parts, I think, is probably be the most expensive, wouldn't it? For fire and police and all that.
And if you're talking routine maintenance, it's a non-issue, right, to the
Routine
chief's point.
maintenance,
Yeah.
oil
Changes,
changes, filter, tire
tires.
rotation, brakes,
It's all done at the dealership now.
well, it's, we have standing officers contracts with different businesses to do that. But I think, I think there is some efficiencies that could be found to utilize our own services if that's.
I think we could as well. There's a certain designation, EVT, it's called, Emergency Vehicle Technician. They'd be able to do all the maintenance on the trucks, which right now we pay a company from Notre Dame to come over to do our regular inspections and testing 2 to 3 times a year. And specialized equipment, like our ladders have to go over at times, and we're out of service for periods of time because they need the space. So, yeah, there's a lot of efficiencies could be found by getting a few of those people in.
Chair, I just, I apologize, but I missed one of the new initiatives, body worn cameras. We're requesting $45,000 to start our body worn camera project, which is kind of an ease into probably a much bigger rollout over time, but we're looking for $45,000 this year to and that would be, these come, body worn cameras these days come more of like a cell phone and a subscription than an actual purchase of the device. So you actually buy the camera and the data and the cloud services as part of it. So you gotta think of it more of as an ongoing than one-time purchase. That's why it's in the operational budget as opposed to the capital.
Uh-huh.
And just, Madam Chair, if I could have just a comment before we dig into the new initiatives and the sticker shocking a little bit. Just want to make you aware, because I don't know if you're aware, I was able to reduce the capital budget that we come in with by almost 2 million, 1.78 million, just as a consideration when we did that. Yeah, to look at the
Right.
operational
And they
side.
both do impact each other.
That's not how
Oh,
it works,
pretty
chief,
smooth,
but nice
pretty
try.
Good try.
Operational usually
Apples,
impacts
oranges.
the
I
capital.
like your thinking.
But your team play has been duly acknowledged.
Well, the bottom line is we are growing, and you know what, I think we've been operating, we've just kind of been going and doing what we can, for sure, to kind of keep the wheels moving, but we're in a different time, and I think we have to look at,
But we need more revenue too, Madam Chair. And there's only 2 ways to get this.
I know,
Cut service
and I,
or
you
raise
know,
taxes. And I don't know what the appetite is in there for that, but we'd all love to say to the fire or the police chief, fill your boots. Because safety is number one in everybody's mind. And then Public Works is gonna want this and Parks and Recreation, so it's just, there has to be a fine line, I guess, to balance the books, right?
Always.
Always. And I don't know where we're gonna find the money, really. I mean, for some things, I'm not talking about fire or police or anything like that, I'm just talking about the whole overall budget.
that's,
It'll be fun in there anyway.
we've done well for a long time.
We did very
but
well.
It's, it is getting tighter because things are
Yep.
getting more expensive, and we are in a world where, you know, we're begging people to come work, where
Yeah.
they have options. Before, when, my generation, you
That's
were
right.
grateful to have a job, you'd sweep the floor to get to the classroom, but it doesn't have to be that way anymore. So you need to invest if you wanna get good
Yep.
payback for that.
Yep.
And I guess as a group, we're gonna have to prioritize where that is. So there's gonna be some good discussion happening. And both have rated, as far as Chief Mamie's rated, his priority would be definitely his platoon chiefs, cause that is already happening.
That's right.
His second option would be, if he had, and his 1-2, is the additional firefighters. And for Chief McGonnell, he's indicated the one is Sorry, Brad, your one is
The police officer.
your police officers, your two is your staff, non-civilian staff, or civilian staff, sorry, non-civilian, oh my goodness, I'll get on this language. Third being the body gear. So let's have some discussion, let's start with fire, are we wanting to push both initiatives on as a committee? Are we in agreement with the 1-2? Any questions, any thoughts?
Yeah, the platoon chief, as you mentioned, Chair, as I rated A1, is essential. We have 4 platoons working, we only have 2, or currently 1, we have 2 starting in June, so we need a 4th platoon chief, 3 and 4. And as I mentioned, the increase in the firefighter 2s, the level of that, is working towards establishing the appropriate number and improving response times. This will all take a part of that, and getting trucks staffed where we need them. And as I mentioned, when we get through the fire underwriter survey recommendations, there'll be more of
That
that sort of
makes
feeds into this message of stuff.
And that's under operational, isn't it, chief? Yes.
Yes.
So are we comfortable, any thoughts? What are we thinking? We good moving both these on? Are we good with the rating?
Would these positions be filled this year?
Yes.
They will be.
Yes.
Because I know in some departments, there's a carryover each year of certain things.
That happened to us one year as well.
Yes, it did, yeah.
Counselor, but yes, we hired everybody last year we were able to, or that we had vacancies for, and new positions, and we had determined the same this year. We had a really good reply, or response rather, to our platoon chief job posting. A lot of people from actually just about every province across the country, so
Good.
I don't think we're gonna have much trouble filling that.
Thank you.
Once we fully complement the HR department because they need staff in order to keep up with all the hires, so.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Counselor Duran, any thoughts, concerns, questions?
No, I guess it's just, like, if we say yes to everything and it just goes up the night
That's right.
before, so there's not really much we can do here to say no, or yes, because it essentially stops.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are competent enough to say that these aren't needed.
That's right, you're
Right,
exactly right.
so at the end of the day, we have to look at the big picture too, to see how does it, hopefully that will come a little organized to us in council too, from,
I say
all
we
departments.
should just move it on to the finance and
okay, you're moving that on?
then we're gonna hack it out in there and, and things along that line. I mean, we're in full support of the police officers and the firefighters and platoon chief, so we're gonna need those people. So,
You can, Madam Chair, you can just make a recommendation to move all of the new initiatives
Yes.
along if you so choose, rather going through
Go
them
through each
individually.
one?
yeah,
Counselor Duran's point, it's going to be debated next door anyway, so.
I would agree.
Yep.
Yep.
No.
Yep, so, okay, so you're moving them
Yes.
on, you're seconding them on, okay? Everybody's in favor of that, I don't have a vote.
funny, eh?
I have lots of questions, don't worry, I have my little list all started, not just for here. Okay, so legal goes on, budget snapshot, we're already done, police budgets,
Good.
back up. Is there any introduction of new business?
Did you wanna mention under new business how you're gonna change your hours?
Oh, yeah, they're gonna look into it, and I talked to the committee, we might try to do, if we can keep 11:30 to 12:30 meeting, we can move the committee to that time. If there's an agenda item that's heavy, or in particular, we can look at shifting as we need, but.
Can you get all committees to meet for 40 minutes? Would that work?
Well, if people read their
Just depends
packages
who's in
and
the
come
room.
prepared,
Look who's in the room.
and
It was only 2 hours and 40 yesterday.
I watched that, I'm really glad I watched that meeting,
Finance?
it helped me for tonight.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's great, no introduction of new business or anything
No.
we need to talk about next time, someone to motion to adjourn. Second, thank you very much, have a great day.
Thank you, folks.
Hey, thank you.